What formation and lineup do you think would make Manchester United the most successful?
10-0-0. Just park the bus.
No.
Go on, Stevie.
No, Ronaldo's got to play centre forward, isn't he?
So at 9-0-1?
9-0-1. Well, whatever it is, Ronaldo's got to play up front. So choose your poison, basically.
What are you going for? What you going for exactly?
I think
you got to have Ronaldo up front. You got to have Bruno Fernandes in behind.
I think the way they were set up in a 4-2-3-1 against Liverpool was actually the right formation. Unfortunately, they don't seem to have the players to play it properly. You know, your two wide guys particularly, and Fernandes in the three, have got to do some sort of defending. If they could get them to defend or use somebody else that will defend, then it would make them so much more tighter defensively, because they can't play that way against a proper team.
All right, I'm going to move on to the next one. For Shaka, what do you believe has contributed to De Gea's turnaround? It was only a few months ago that everyone had written him off.
Everyone, including me. I freely admit I didn't see him being this good at all. I really can't say exactly what it is turning it around. We've seen De Gea be this good. We knew he had this in him, but I just felt that confidence got knocked out of him. I'm not sure if it's because the Real Madrid move fell through, but he just couldn't seem to get it back together. And all of a sudden, I wish I could explain it. I wish I could have used it in my own career, to be honest. I thought Henderson was going to be the number one this season, and all of a sudden this season starts and he's been absolutely.
He's gone from he looks like he's got a mistake in him to now you're expecting him to be safe.
To again be like that keeper that won six player of the years in a row for United or something like that. He's back to being that good. He really is.
So De Gea back to his best. All right, one for Jules and Frank. I'll start with you, Frank. Is Marseille back? They seem to have a solid defence and a deep bench and probably deserve to win the game over PSG.
I don't know if they really deserve to win the game against PSG. I mean, even 11 against 10, I didn't see them, getting the fourth gear to finish the game. They weren't able to do so. They're getting better. I like the enthusiasm of the team and how they play and how they want to achieve something. But comparing to Paris Saint-Germain, because it is what it is, they're not close to it, because we can see the difference. And Paris Saint-Germain is still looking for his best formation and his best team and everything, where it seems to be that Marseille is at the max. So obviously, I want to see my former club getting better and getting close to Paris Saint-Germain, but I don't think it's for now. It's maybe within 2 or 3 years if they find the money to buy other players.
Jules?
Yeah, I don't think they deserve to win the Classic either. But you could see what they're trying to do with Sampaoli. There have been some really good things, especially at the start of the season. Then they had a dip of form where physically I think they looked a bit jaded. They kept drawing in the league, and now it's coming back again. But I agree with Frank. They still need to be more talented. They spend quite a lot of money, and they certainly signed a lot of players in the summer. Some are really promising, but still very young, like Saliba, like De La Fuente, for example. Payet is not getting any younger at all. You've got Milik up front that is just coming back from injury and he starts scoring, which is great for them. So they will need all those key players to stay fit, the younger ones to improve, collectively to stay strong. And I think they can have a very good season. I don't think they can compete all the way with PSG to go and win it. And they're already, I think, 7 points behind with a game in hand to play tomorrow against Nice. But I still think it's a big ask for them. However, if they keep building like that with Sampaoli, then I agree in the near future they will be very strong.
So potential definitely there. Okay, next question. Vishal's back in and he says, Frank and Stevie, and I'll start with you, Stevie. As defenders, were you ever told to wind up a particular player that you were facing, and did it work?
No, not particularly.
Did you decide to do it, even not being told?
No, I treated every single person with the same respect and did my job. And
Why does this sound like I need a violin?
Did he just polish his hair?
Oh, goodness me. Wow. I treated everybody
sure.
with respect of a professional. Oh, goodness.
listen, I would kick anybody
There you go.
if the opportunity arose, regardless of whether they were Pele or the guy next door who couldn't chew gum and tie shoelaces. So I played against my opponents the same, regardless of who they were. Listen, I wasn't particularly good at winding people up.
Right.
When I joined Liverpool,
You winding
let me
up
tell
the
you,
viewers up, let me tell
when
you.
I joined Liverpool, right, I played in an A-team game.
Right.
So back then, when you were coming back from injury, you played in the A-team game before you even got near a reserve game. And that was on a Saturday morning at the training ground. And you're playing against all these Scousers and all these teams, and they're all having a chip at you and the whole thing, and you're trying to have a go back. I was getting slaughtered. I was trying to be clear. They would have a snip at me, give me some sort of, I'd be giving it all that, yeah, what's your wages and all that. And then they just come back with better lines than me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to win this battle.
Listen,
against
every
anybody.
defender,
So that was it.
every defender knows that striker that as soon as the game starts, just go on rattling from behind, especially back in the day when you could get away with it. Just go on rattling from behind, let him know you're there, let him know he's in the game, was the old cliche, let him know he's in the game. They all did it. I don't know why Stevie broke
No,
on
but
his
it's
violin.
the question is to wind them up. I thought he was meaning verbally and all that sort of
And that's
nonsense.
how I
Anyway.
interpreted it. I interpreted it as just go on.
No, listen,
Rattle.
it didn't matter whether they were good or bad. If the opportunity was there to give them a slap, then you give them it.
Frank.
Look at his face. Look at his
Never,
face.
nobody
Kids like me though.
Nobody never asked me to wind up a player, and I wouldn't have done that. It would have been nowadays, you know, with some players that I see the way they behave. Maybe I would have done it myself, but at the time, the striker that I was playing against, they were warriors. They were very strong. The only one that I tackled very hardly the first minutes of the game, it was our friend Jürgen Klinsmann after 2 minutes playing against Monaco, because I didn't want to see him anymore, so I tackled it. I don't know if you remember that, but I did it, and I didn't see him for the rest of the game. It was mostly on the right side. And the other one was Marcus Sparky, where when he signed for Newcastle, Southampton, and came to and we went there and we played against him, and I went to see him and say, Sparky, I love you. You know you're my favorite player. I don't want to see you in my area because I don't want to fight against you. So get away from there. And he was very nice. I didn't see him all game long. So love it.
Well,
Tell you what,
we
I
need a
once-
response from Klinsmann on
You
that.
talk about somebody who was just hard, Sparky, Mark Hughes. I kicked him so hard one game, I thought I broke my foot. And he never moved. Honestly. I mean, you talk about a solid man. I rattled him.
Have you seen the calves?
I went
Have
off
you
at
seen the
half time. I
calves,
was like, I had to
Stevie?
get ice and everything on my foot. It was killing me. Oh, seriously.
He
Go
had
on,
the
Frank.
calves. He had the calves of my. He had the calves of my thighs. I mean, the guy was huge. I saw
His
him. You know,
thighs-
it was such a relief for us. You know, you were giving him the ball. You had 30 seconds to put the defense up because he was keeping the ball against 3 or 4 players. That was amazing. I never seen that in my life.
His thighs were like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, he was just, seriously.
It was a tough one.
He was solid.
I like the last question. From Salvatore Birardi. And I'm going to start with you, Jules, because I'm a journalist too who moved to another country, so I'm interested to start with you first. For all, the biggest culture shock when you moved to a new country, and why was it a shock?
Has to be the food, man. I mean, the food. I'm still not really sure exactly what English food or British food is. And we're not going to
Oh
go
my
there
God.
because, you know, this, again, it would be too long. But yeah, I would say the food. And that's me being kind.
Yeah, we went there last week, didn't we,
Yeah.
Frank? And it went a little bit too long with you and Stevie. So what was the biggest culture shock for you, Frank?
Oh, exactly the same as Joe's. I went one time to a gastronomic restaurant in London. I got sick all night long. So the food.
The French, you say the food. What about you, Shaka?
The weather. Keep in mind, I'm coming from Trinidad and Tobago. I come to England and you don't see the sun for 6 months. Like, seriously. And then every time I go back home for internationals or the end of the season, whatever, you come back in and the planes come into England, you cannot see. All you can see is cloud cover beneath you. I've never gotten used to that. Just, I miss the sun.
Right, fair enough. That's a good one. Stevie, you can give us a few. You can give us crossing the border. You can give us coming into the USA. What was yours?
I'll tell you what, there's two actually. The one moving country was when it came to the US, because in the UK, if you've done something and you tell somebody, they'll think that you're bragging. You know, they'll go, "Oh, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are just because you've done that?"
I know where you're
So
going.
when you come to the US, and somebody will go, "Oh, so-and-so did that," and they'll go, "Oh, congratulations, that is fantastic." and I'm like that. The first time it happened to me, I went, "God, they're really nice." I was expecting somebody to start giving it all that. "Oh yeah, who do you think you are? Just because you played for Liverpool, you're not any better than me, you know." No, they were so nice.
Oh, that's a nice trait, isn't it?
The other culture shock was leaving Liverpool and going to Notts County as a player. Because at Liverpool, everything you did, or everything was done properly. And you had to reciprocate. You had to train hard. You had to be on time. And so the culture was, everything you do it to your best. And it went both ways, because the club did their best for you. When I went to Notts County, I walked in the dressing room, and there must have been 2 or 3 players who went, "Oh, what are you doing here?" They went, "I can't believe you come here. What in there?" Everybody's trying to get out of here. I was like, "Oh my goodness, what have I done?" The chairman was cutting the towels for coming out the shower in half, so he didn't have to spend money on new towels.
Remind us how long it lasted.
And they were all promised things when they signed contracts. They were said, "Oh, right, sign the contract, but we'll give you that later on, don't worry." And then they never got it. So there was like 3 or 4 first-team players in the dressing room who couldn't get out the door quick enough, and all they did was moan every day. I was like, "Oh my God, what have they done here?"
How long did it last?
It never changed till I got out. I was there 6 months. I went from the assistant to Howard Kendall to being the interim manager to the end of the season. They brought somebody else in, so I ended up being a player in the old 3rd division. I'm like, in the space of 6 months, I've gone from European champions to the 3rd division. I'm like, I'm absolutely shell-shocked.
With half a towel.
With half a towel, I washed my body. I'm like, I was like a face cloth.
Talk about being brought back down to earth with that.
What a shock. That was a culture shock.
Oh, poor Stevie. Listen, great questions. Thanks so much for sending them in. Being with us on Extra Time, make sure to always watch us 7 days a week here on ESPN FC for more content like this.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.